Ladies and gentlemen, greetings and thanks to joining us live on Clinton Destiny Reality Show. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful evening in the city of Yaoundé as we are transmitting and modulating live. We are honored. We are honored to have with us the distinguished Honourable Tasi Ntang, a pillar of wisdom and a true bridge between the past, present, and the future. Ladies and gentlemen, this time around we move into an intriguing conversation with our esteemed guest. You're welcome once again.
Thank you very much, Clinton.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Honorable. Honorable, your journey in politics has left a lasting impact. Can you share a pivotal moment that shaped your perspective on governance and leadership?
Important question. Let me say that I was councillor in the Central Council in 1982 to 87, thereabout. Then I went into Parliament in 1979 to 2007. Well, you know, as a politician, we are in a domain where you hardly ever do things black and white. You are caught up in between conscience and the mandate of your office. You know, as a member of Parliament, they tell you you are a lawmaker. But in most cases, these laws come to us from the executive. So our duty is to make contributions and make amendments. And I want to say that as a member of Parliament, luckily for me as a challenger, I made quite a number of amendments. So that's the little I can say. And for 10 years in the National Assembly Education Committee, I worked on three bills. There was the bill on orientation for national education, the bill on tertiary education. We also worked on the bill on eyes. So that's what I can say. There's not much you can say about the parliamentarian system where the executive is fairly overwhelmed and really too strong.
As a wise historian, you've delved into depths of Pinyin clan's rich history. What lesson from the past do you believe are crucial for guiding our future?
That is a very important question. I'm not a historian as such. I'm an impressive Pinyin man. I went to school, no doubt. I've done administration. I am so concerned about my community. So the little I can say is that I dig deep, and I am making sure that I cut my teeth and dot my I's properly before I come up, because history is an interesting exercise. You don't just delve into it. What I can tell you is that I work in it for long. I've consulted quite a number of people. Your question about the present and the past is very critical, very critical. You know, when you talk about a village like Pinyin, you are talking about the founding fathers, and you are talking about people whose traditional politics went through lots and lots of influences. They were influenced by their neighbors, they were influenced by the German administration, they were influenced by the British administration. They also had a lot of influence from the French system, and now traditional authority is in a difficulty because Republican institutions are exerting a lot of pressure on them. So they call them auxiliaries of the administration. It sort of ties their hands. But I tell you, what Pinyin is, it's a better place than many chiefdoms in the country. So as a Pinyin man, what I can say about yesterday is that Pinyin people of yore, that's Pinyin people of yesterday, they were fairly comfortable until the time that the Germans started influencing us, and sometimes making some of the chiefs difficult, making it difficult for some chiefs to hold their own. And so they have suffered lots and lots of interferences, because when you over-influence, you interfere. But I bet you, many people are well informed. They know where the problem is. They know that they need their unity. They know that they need their peace. They know that they need justice around them. And you cannot talk peace, you cannot talk unity, you cannot talk justice when you do not know what you are talking about. So Pinyin people need to know their country. And I realize that many of them are so concerned about it. There are many platforms where Pinyin people are talking, brainstorming, and numbing order to know themselves. So I have a strong feeling that we're on the right path. We are doing the best we can, and what we should.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Your role as a book writer is commendable. Can you highlight a specific piece of your work that you believe carries a message particularly relevant for today's generation?
Very important question. So far, I have printed quite a number of books and published a good number as well. Let me make the difference between printing and publishing. They publish a book when a professional publishing house has looked at your work and found it good. Then you print a book when you think that you have confidence in yourself, and then when your book printed, you want people to read it. I will highlight just two of my short stories. I will not call them short stories, they are novels. Not Without My Wife. It has to do with a young man who went to the plantation because the white man wanted workers in the plantation, so he was forced to go there, and he left a young wife behind. And while in the coast, he did everything, despite all the odds, to remember his wife. Fortunately for him, he did his best, managed to come back home and to meet his wife. But then the phone of the village didn't want him there because he could find out from the phone why he left. So he now left the village again, this time going away with his wife. That's Not Without My Wife. So I am interested in human mobility for livelihood, and then the type of conflict that people meet when they leave their village. Then one of the books, which is going to appear on the book list for the next academic year, I'm doing my own publicity, there's nothing wrong with that. The book is titled A Pen Case. A Pen Case. It's about a young man from Bosa, and in Mesa, Bosa is in Balisota, who did his best and moved from the village to Bamenda town. Then he finally went to a college and he was dismissed because of cross-cultural difficulties. But he was not a failure because he was dismissed from college. He managed to pick up and to do something even greater than people who passed through college. So the idea is that if you fall, you should rise. That is, a pen kills. His pen kills him because he was fond of writing scribblings on the wall. So it kills him. So the lesson from there is that those of us who have pens and are in leadership, if you use your pen carelessly, if you use your pen to report falsehood, somebody can die because of your pen. Pen kills. So you can see the life-transforming messages that I convey in my books. Then my third book, I told you there are 13. I'm not going to all. One of it is Pains of Power. Pains of Power. Some of us believe in power, we don't know that it's pain. If you are a legitimate leader, if you are in power and you share power properly, it will not be too painful. But if you keep it alone, it can be painful. If you are in power and you are illegitimate, that is, people don't recognize you as such, it can be painful. And this particular book has been read by 4 universities of this country. The University of Marwa, the University of Bamenda, the University of Chang, and the University of Douala. So that's what I can tell you about my books. I am into many short stories. I'm hoping that these stories should be life transforming. I am also into Pinyin research, and the years ahead will tell. I cannot talk about it for now. I'm a writer, and I'm happy that I'm a writer. Let me highlight this. It's very critical for those who want to write. All of us are created in God's image. If you have a pen and paper around you and you want to write your own life story, that's important. As a Pinyin man, if you lack a topic on which to write your family history. What is the name of your father, his father? What is the name of your maternal grandmother? What is the name of your father? Just ask those questions and write some of those things down, and you'll be surprised you are doing more and enormous job for society. That's the message I can give to people about writing. Writing is also helpful, particularly for old people. If you have ideas in you and then you are putting them on paper, you tend to forget certain things. If you are fond of quarreling with people, quarreling with the society, when you take your pen and you identify those areas where you are quarreling about, and you want to leave something in writing, it is therapeutic, it is very helpful. And lastly, as a writer, I want to share this with my listeners. When I sit on my desk, and you can see me on my desk, especially at a time that I am not into work, I'm not myself. When I pick up my pen and have the inspiration to write a poem or to write a message, I get healed, I get treated. So writing is good. And talking about writing, let us also encourage people to read. You better read books around you. Of course, the commonest book we have is our Bible. How many of us read the Bible? There are other stories around us that you need to read, and we don't read them. We can also read the society. Reading is not necessarily opening a book. You can also read your community, which means that you are in a place, you are alert, you are sensitive, and you are sensible. Because if you are in a society, I'm a Pinyin man. Pinyin people say, Lo Pilelen. So it's just there. If we are just there, what are you losing for?
Thank you very much, Honorable. Being a guy between past, present, and future, it's a unique responsibility. How do you balance preserving cultural heritage while fostering progress and development?
Critical question. Man is about his person, his time, the matter around him, and everything that surrounds him. And you cannot tell me that Tuesday can be exactly like Monday that passed. Can never be. which means that we are evolving. We are evolving because of cross-cultural contacts with other people. And if you are alert and you try to know about your yesterday, then you see how today is interfering with your yesterday. Then you know how to shape your future. And talking about the life of a community, let us start from the family. Let us start from the family. What was the family yesterday? What were the difficulties of family members yesterday? If you take an important ritual, I call it a ritual, or ceremony like marriage, how did our parents go about it? They did some investigations. They did not just go into it blindly. They knew the family they were getting into. We have now evolved where there are other interferences, other influences, and we become so gullible. To be gullible means you just accept anything. Is it necessary? Let us face facts. You are a young man, gentle. Is it necessary for you to take somebody's daughter and live with, unknown to the parents?
No, Honourable.
If something happens to that girl, how can you explain that? Why are we not giving meaning to life? You take somebody's daughter because you think that human rights has come. That's a Republican principle, which you superimpose on African tradition. So that I have my right to select my wife. And sometimes you select a girl who comes from a family where there was homicide, where there was suicide, where there were all kinds of crimes. And this is what Pinyin people did not like yesterday. They would just go into it. That's one dimension. The second dimension is that you get married to somebody's wife and then you refuse the traditional expectations about marriage. You are afraid of bride price. Then you are staying with somebody's daughter. You make children with that girl. And tradition requires that when that girl comes of age and is about to marry, certain things must be done. Then you begin to decry those things. You are only destroying your present because you have ignored your past. So for the future, let us know what is happening now. Let us do our best. And let us stick to God the Almighty. And stick to your tradition. Because when it is said in the Bible that give to Caesar what is Caesar, Caesar was the leader. And to God what is God. We're indirectly saying that as we're evolving, let us give importance to tradition and those who lead us traditionally. At the same time, we're saying that if you are a traditional ruler and you have responsibility over people, be sure that you are a legitimate traditional ruler. Legitimate in the sense that you are doing those things that tradition demands of you. Legitimate in the sense that you don't become an impostor. Legitimate in the sense that you must go through the process of consultation. You get what we call in law de facto and de jure recognition. Because Clinton, if you stand and tell me that you are achieving your own house, but you don't go out and begin to brandish that your title, we don't quarrel with you. Let your chiefdom die in your house because it's a cloth you are wearing. But if you get out and then you are telling us that you are chiefdom, and then we know that the tradition does not recognize you, and we know that the administration does not recognize you, then there is problem. This message is for everybody to understand. You and I, who are not born in Tigers, let us look at chieftainship from a distance. Let's not go into what does not concern us. But let us pray that what does not concern us, but which concerns other people of the ruling class, should be properly done for the interests of society, so that tomorrow should be a comfortable place. Evolution should not be a revolution.
Thank you very much, Honourable. In promoting culture, peace, and development in the Pinyin clan, what initiative have you found most effective, and how do they contribute to the broader context of the new down often spoken about in the Pinyin clan?
Well, Pinyin is an interesting place. We have very intelligent people in Pinyin. I like that so much. I appreciate that. Pinyin is not only Muala, it is not only the 721 square kilometers of land that we occupy, but Pinyin is Pinyin Muala, Pinyin itself, stretching up to to Apunon, to Akomsu, to Zumben, to Nkani, and to the outskirts of Sangam. Pinyin has now stretched over to America, to Dubai, to South Africa, to Canada, and to all those places. So what we want to preach these days is knowledge about ourselves. What we want to preach these days is peace amongst our people. Because as we move around, Pinyin people are moving around. Let us see other people and their own culture. Have you ever seen an Indian in London or in South Africa or in America? Clinton, don't bother yourself. Imagine it. I'm praying that you will get there one day. Have you ever seen a Chinese? In any part of the world, they remain Chinese. They remain Indian. I am praying for Pinyin people because their human mobility for livelihood is commendable. The people move. They work hard. They are crusaders. They do not only thrive. They do not always survive, but they make things happen for the interest of all. So I'm praying that wherever people are, there should be those who make things happen and encourage people who do not see why good things happen to make those things happen, particularly at home. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Your dedication to peace is evident. In your experience, how can cultural understanding serve as a catalyst for fostering harmony within diverse communities and particularly our clan?
God bless you for asking that question. God bless you for asking that. Because indeed, I've done courses in peace making, peace building, and tension management. But before that, I was born a peaceful person. I want to claim and appropriate that. I appropriate the fact that I'm a peace-loving person. Usually, people challenge me, and I look around and I say, I have no reason for retaliating. Let me just give you one small anecdote. I was in the primary school in Baringuma, and at that time, there were 6 Pinyin boys and girls who were usually top in class in the Vice Mission School. And there was one Bale boy who found himself amongst us. So since young people are always talking about things and talking about themselves, so someday somebody went and told one Pinyin guy, brother of mine, said, you know what Lucas has said? Lucas has said that if you ever stand ahead of him in any exam, you are going to see. So that was a type of blackmail, call it. And that my brother in question came to me and said, what did you say? I said, no, I said nothing. Tell me what I said. Then before I realized, he gave me a dirty one on my face. And what I did was, I just turned around and I was going. I was crying. My friends were laughing, but I went away. I remember on another occasion, a good friend of mine, his name is Jonathan from Banteng, Bamambo area. He took me from the same valley, we were going to his village. Because in those days, there was a lot of living together. Children were mature. Friends would take their friends to their places. So Jonathan Ngula took me to Banteng. And somewhere between Atong and Banteng, some children slapped us very seriously. So I told Jonathan, don't retaliate. Follow me, let us run. And we ran. So they laughed at us saying that we were running. We were running for life. Take notes. Take notes. You always retaliate is a sign of weakness. If somebody beats you and you suffer, you are beaten, you go away. It's a strength. I have been a peacemaker in my life. Let me also share another anecdote. I was a young man in this Yaoundé in 1966. I wanted a job. I called the name Gideon Taka and so rest in peace. He had worked out a plan for me to come all the way from Iran and have a job in Lagos and all day. But by the time I came, Gideon Taka and another Pinyin, the Prince of Pinyin, George Kanye, were so sharp in the radio. So somebody saw another sharp Pinyin man coming. They said, no, there are too many Pinyin people around here. I'm not going to take this one. And guess what, Clint? I missed that job because he stood his ground, because he had to recommend me before I entered. And it turned out that we met somewhere else, where it was in trouble. I don't want to call it, be nice. And when he was in trouble, I used the services and the intervention of my classmate in the university. It was one country. I said, look, I have a brother of mine who's in trouble. The father is a good actor. He gave me the name, I gave him the name of that my father. He was rescued. That is somebody who refused to employ me, but I had an opportunity to say, I am a peacemaker. And finally, therefore, what message am I giving to the listeners? If you are rich, be it intellectually or materially, you use your riches for mankind, you are on the right path. You are a peace builder. If you are a father, and then you understand your children, you know the weak one, you know the strong one, and do everything to be just to them, you are a peace lover. If you are a leader, and you lead because you have the aspirations of the people following you in your mind, you are a peace lover, you are a peace builder. And lastly, if in your dealings with people, you promote justice, you promote love, you promote tolerance, you promote forgiveness, you are a peace builder.
Thank you very much, Honorable. As someone deeply connected to the Pinyin clan, how do you see the cultural landscape evolving, and what steps do you think are essential for its preservation and distributable one and indivisible Pinyin clan as it was when you were a youth?
Well, take note that every family shall always receive challenges. Depends on how you face your challenges. The way I look at things these days, there are so many platforms in Pinyin that are building peace, that are preaching knowledge. To me, that is it's important. And we should pray for them to work hard. We're going to tell individuals, Pinyin people, that wherever they are, they should learn to be those who make things happen. They should be those who will encourage those who don't want to see good things happen. That way they shall be building peace and unity. And lastly, we should avoid hate statements. I will struggle to do that like this. We should avoid hate speech. We should avoid suspicions and hatred. We should avoid being sadist. And that way, the mean that I'm seeing, evolving properly. Beginning from what I'm seeing. I am seeing a lot in Pinyin now, 20, a lot. That makes me feel good and proud. There is a gigantic vision to reconstruct palaces. That's a worthy idea. And I also see a number of Pinyin people building what we call the intangible pillars of a culture. The many of them, Pinyin people are together and on the right track. God the Almighty will guide them.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you very much. As someone deeply connected to the Pinyin clan, how do you see the cultural landscape? Your advocacy extends beyond local boundaries. How can individuals and communities contribute to the broader sense of unity and development in the entire clan, no matter where the Pinyinians are? Because we have heard you saying the Pinyin clan extends beyond local boundaries.
Yeah, the point that is critical, and I've already developed it, is that wherever you are, make things happen. If you are a machine, that is just a modifier. You should love the Menka. That's another modifier. If you are a Meso, it's a modifier. When I say modifier, it's something that just describing you. We didn't come to Pinyin as a Pinyin man. This name was called when we came to the land. So for us to be together, we should first of all accept that differences are human. It is human for people to differ. It is human for some people to always look at the bad side of things. And so when you have a friend who is not interested in the positive side of things, who's a pessimist, who's a defeatist, the best you can do for that friend is to bring that friend on board. But if you go condemning the person, you dampen their spirits and you pull them out. That's why people say, I'm a Latin finger when they die. If there is a difference between two people, and you see, talking about difference is plenty. Do you know that it's a miracle that of all the billions of people on earth, not two people are exactly the same? No, people are exactly the same. They are different. And so they appreciate problems differently. So the right thing for those who want to live comfortably is to know that your right should not deprive another person of his or her right. If you are a Pinyin man and you think that you want to be a Langapezo Oswa, a Langapelo Alangapeletun, which translates into somebody who is a sadist, somebody who is a saboteur. How do you help a community when you opt sabotage? That is the question. By the same token, if you can make sacrifices to make things happen despite what people are saying, then you are dealing peace. So, and you know, I made the point clear that the people are all over. They own houses, not only in the village, but many of them have better houses abroad. Let them make those houses useful. Let them make those houses homes. And at home, they should remember that my prayer is that we should become like Indians, and like Chinese, and like Jews. I say this because I did a course in the state of Israel. We went around the whole country, it's not a very big country. And I realized that the Jews, I know they're the richest people in the world, in all the cities, it is built by them, because of their hard work. What they do is, those of them who are viable enough go back home and create industries that have, subsets to encourage industrialization. And what they do is, they go back home and build buildings to spend some of the money they're earning outside. And then they occupy their hotels and they do home tourism. So, I am sure in God's good time, and some of them have started building castles and villages. This revolution is going to pass, no revolution that's forever. I know that after a revolution, people will build wisely. What I will encourage people to do, and many of them are already brainstorming. I think something about brainstorming, norming, and forming, not necessarily in public. People individually are doing things. And these things that they are doing, which are positive, are going to promote our cause and prepare us to higher heights. And one thing I'm very happy about is that the Pinyin woman has become a powerful contributor to our time, to our space, and our matter. I find the average Benin girl hardworking, self-employed. That is a plus, and we should encourage it. Girl child, keep it up. I'm also happy to note that some men who yesterday did not give importance to girl child education are not doing it very seriously. Because some of the girls are behaving well. They are taking proper care of themselves. I am saying this happen. Girls, keep it up.
Thank you very much. Honorable, as a former member of parliament, what legislative change do you believe are crucial to supporting and preserving cultural identities in a rapidly changing world?
Well, we'll make an attempt because there's power in suggestion. First of all, our parliament leans a lot on the executive. There are a number of issues, cultural issues that parliament can handle, but they have their hands tied. I would say hands tied because most parliaments in third world countries, in Africa in particular, they are surrogates of other powers, and many of them tend to listen to other powers. I'm saying this because one of the burning issues in Africa, let me say, is this whole idea of traditional rulership. There are decrees about it, quite right. But traditional rulership is not something that you decree. Because if you sign a decree for a country like Cameroon, knowing fully well that when you move from the northwest to the north, then to the south, then to the littoral, then to the southwest, you are different meeting situations, not slightly different, but fairly different from one another. But then you expect a decree to synchronize and harmonize. It doesn't work that way. So one of the things that parliamentarians should be looking at is to go deep into legislation in those areas where the culture is not allowed to function. Take, for example, there's so much cry about women empowerment, and yet there's a lot of cry about women owning property. There's so much talk about young people having self-employment and generated self-employment, and yet the law on land property does not encourage young people. So it's a system that is eating itself. It's turning around, and from my experience as a politician, I want to admit that, but I do not want to be the politician of mandate. I want to be the politician of my conscience. It is my considered opinion, through observation, that what we find as political parties is a group of people who are turning around and challenging people, and then at the same time challenging themselves to the extent that they set confusion in the society. And some of these traditional rulers are so gullible, they will see a whole member of parliament and they lean on it, but this member of parliament cannot effectively help him. He will not help. The same member of parliament who may come to your village and give you a few francs to live on is the same member of parliament who, during his political campaigns, may come to your village and ignore the fact that you are there. It's the same member of parliament who can enter your village and disrespect your village protocol. So, talking about our culture, with particular reference to what parliament can do, there is a lot that can be done. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of royal exodus in this country. If you go to Douala, you are now in Yaoundé. When I was here as Professor du Lycée d'Obala 44 years ago, Obala was very far away from Yaoundé, but Obala has become virtually part of Yaoundé. Yaoundé is developing in a sprawling manner. That's an ugly manner. This is not helping our culture. Because people are leaving the villages where the culture tidies up their behavioral patterns and getting into the cities where there's a lot of heterogeneity. To the extent that when a Pinyin man is in Yaoundé, then he's meeting and a man, then at the same time there's a Bafokeng man, then there's a Hausa man. They tend to mix with a lot of suspicion and a lot of fear. So they miss out on something. But if you arrange development in such a way, I told you that I'm a development consultant, that the villages are properly developed, that they can have potable water in the village, have their telephone, have roads, and that when they do their produce, people can get there and buy as habits. Then urbanization will not be as callous and as excruciating as it is. I'm sorry for this sort of words, because when you find people in Yaoundé from the villages, having abandoned the villages where there's a lot of green life, a lot of good air to breathe, then they come to Yaoundé because the musician said yesterday, Yaoundé la capitale. It is not une ville. Because when you move around and some of the streets, you find restaurants by the roadside, people are draining the dirty water into the streets. You have a small makeshift restaurant by the roadside. Bread is falling on the ground, people are eating it. We have made our cities too huge because we have neglected the right areas. We have made politicians too powerful because we describe traditional rulers who yesterday had the power, we call them auxiliaries of the administration. This is a very disturbing situation. And as an education consultant, all I can do is reflect some of these things in my literature. When I tell you that I have a book, the title of which is Pains of Power, again, things like this, you flag them in books with understanding that somebody is going to capture that message. And someday, somehow, will sit in that office where you can make a core impacting decision and say, no, this thing is too much. Let us shift gears. Royal exodus is very disturbing. Let us develop the villages so that the people can have love for their village. Then they will what we call pilgrimage backward. So time has come when we should avoid royal exodus and go for pilgrimage to the villages. I have traveled a little and I've seen some of these things. When you are in Ghana over the weekend, I went to Ghana 3 times. I did a course there. Over the weekends, you find people rushing to the villages to go and pray themselves, go to where their umbilical cords are. I am looking forward to the day that the roads will be good, so that some of those in Kan groups who consume on a regular basis, they eat a lot of good food in Bamenda. Many of them, if they can go to the village and do those things in the houses that they shall have built, that will be an enormous contribution for everyone. In fact, I belong to a platform we call Gungun about Pinyin, and somebody raised an idea about successors who are now in the diaspora. When you are successful and then you are in the diaspora, and you don't have a good house at home where you can come and put the people together and give them something to drink. We're in a consuming society, those of us who have little shame. That is one. Number two, if the village has become a ghost village, then people rush there to go and bury and then they rush back. Boy, it is not good. My dear Clinton, let me share my anecdote with you about love for village. There was a time before this revolution that I never went to the village for a area, came back to the village. I made sure that if it was a death that was close to me, I would go and enjoy our father. I come from good. Then after the death, I would stay behind and travel the village and know the village and go up the hills. But how many of us can do that? I think we should be thinking about that. That's what we are. To make sure that Pinyin becomes a more comfortable place. Because it's not just the talk that will love Pinyin that matters. Make it happen how you love Pinyin by being effectively present. And if you are a successor, let me share this message. Thank you for this platform. If you are a successor and it's not possible for you to be in the village, because some of you are unavoidably absent from the village, make sure that you identify somebody who will be doing administration in your name. Make sure that you go to the village from time to time. And fortunately for us, we now have digital communication, virtual communication. And I'm also very glad to say that many people, please let's congratulate people. Those of us who are always saying negative things, to know that many good things are happening. Many good things are happening. If it is not happening in your quarter, have yourself to play. Many families now have a platform. They communicate. For our family platform, sometimes once in a while, I sing a song from my family. That's a way of communicating with them. Building peace and love. That's it.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Your perspectives on the intersection of culture and development is valuable. Can you share an example where cultural preservation directly contributed to sustainable development in your region?
I think we have taught this issue, and I've told you that Pinyin people are moving quite a lot, which is a good thing. When they move, they should come back home with some technology. And our parents did that quite a lot. They did that quite a lot. You know, the first good houses in the village were built by those who went on business trips. They came back home with ideas. So for us now, mixing with other people, we should be learning those two things that they will bring them back. And that way we'll be making contribution. Because, as I already said, Pinyin yesterday cannot be exactly like Pinyin yesterday. But the new thing that we're learning is something that is going to make life better, not something that is going to block life. That's it.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Many admire your commitment to education. How can we ensure that the younger generation remains connected to their cultural roots while embracing global perspectives?
Let me start by saying that it has become very clear now that we think globally and act wisely locally. Talking about education, I want to thank God. I cannot talk about myself. I've done quite a bit for those who know me. I could only do what I could do. At the moment, thank God I'm a writer. I'm also putting up something that I hope maybe it's not good to announce it, but it's going to come. Even if I die today, my children will come. I've conceived a book which I call Pinyin Leader to make sure that the Pinyin child is locally Pinyin but internationally connected thanks to intelligence to other cultures. Because your culture is going to have an impact only when you borrow good ideas from somewhere. I'll give you a simple example of cultural transformation or a useful cultural mix. Okay. I give you an example of Ghana. It is something to talk about. Because one of the things that we should be doing when we travel is to import ideas, to import technology. And technology is not always something tangible, it's also something intangible. It's an idea. Okay. So, why did I go very far to Ghana? Because Nigeria by the point. Nigerian business people make sure that they can go. That when they are making money wherever they are, they use it. The same thing I was telling you about somebody in Ghana going over to in Nigeria, even by the way, you see people going to the villages. So we are living with two worlds. Belong to two worlds. So let people take it out. Let them avoid social ills. Let them avoid defeatism. What do I mean by social ills? What do I mean by social ills? You see, if let me start by congratulating you because you are excellent very I've heard a little about you and that I was following up programs. I was also curious because I'm a messenger. And I meant to understand that you are that of Christ. So one time, that's what I meant. One thing you people let them be they are that. Let's also go to school, not always go to and we're praying that leadership from the top, presidency down, the governor down, to the chiefs, and of course, passing to the studios and everything. The atmosphere should be clean enough so that a young man who is courageous, and there are many Benin boys with degrees doing their gardening, when they're an indoor, that's what you say, indoor, they're renting live in order to make this. This is something for us to encourage. And then pray that people in leadership should encourage them. And also that when they earn this money, they should use it wisely. I say this because I'm very familiar with you find some of these young men doing a good harvest season and make about 700,000 francs. And he thinks that 700,000 francs so much. He forgets that his input to that thing must have been more than 700,000. If you go to the world to buy seeds, and then you come and you show them, you WhatsApp them every time. If you take into consideration the time, the input, and you realize that the day that you have the 700,000, if you do not quantify and qualify your operations, you don't do a good job. Then you are dancing on the spot of them. And some of them, when they have this type of money, they forget about the past. Then they'll go into the corner, buy a soft drink and sprinkle on top to say that no problem. Let me water the dust. This is something that's happened to Clinton. I know what I'm talking about. And then what some of them will do is, after they have that type of money in their pocket, they will see somebody's beautiful daughter, they will turn around and grab her, put in their house. Wise ones will do the thing that people go for that. So just stay with her. And what happens is that, you know about disease of the century. You have HIV and AIDS, COVID-19, which is a problem. There are all kinds of cancers, there are all kinds of barriers, you see. And so we are living with disease because we are able to fly away disease. It is a disease for you to earn your money with difficulty and then you spend it carelessly. It's a suffix. Many people say that explanation. Don't come and go, oh, young, continue life, oh, don't come and go, oh, young, continue life, oh, yeah. That I struggle and make an effort to make money. Then I spend it lavishly. Because for the very quality life, continue life, it's lavish experience.
Thank you very much, Honourable. In your role as a guide, what advice do you have for emerging leaders who aim to strike a balance between tradition and progress?
Well, tradition in itself can evolve and lead to progress. If you are gullible, that is, if you just accept anything that the white man introduces, and you are blind to what is good in you, it can even lead you into more trouble. Let me give you a simple illustration about where we underrate certain things that are typically good for us. Then we just invite new ideas for nothing. I'll start by telling you the story of cows, cow culture. Before the cow got into Pinyin, that is an influence from outside, which interfered with certain things. Bride price was something fairly moderate. Before smuggling, in 1918, when the Germans and the British and the French were sharing this part of the world, smuggling gave some people a lot of money. Cow wealth gave some people a lot of money. A young man left the village, went straight to O'Shea or Lucavere, and came back after 3-4 years with a number of cows. Then he saw a beautiful girl who was intended by somebody. Then he said, "Debomuedo, look, you were off. Whose wife is that?" Then he would grab that woman. And in such circumstances, they're prepared to pay more than necessary. Because before the money economy, bride price was in kind, symbolic love and family relations experiences, where you can help your law to build a house, help your law from time to time to give firewood, But the money economy has interfered with this revolution, and people are now making business out of bride price, which is not a good thing. So those listening to us, please, it is not because you have sent a daughter to university and spent about 6 million, then you think that you should ask somebody to give you at least just 2 million. You are training your daughter for a better future. And take note that your daughter is in position, even when she's married, to give you even 10 million if she's capable. Don't sell her like a goat. Don't give the impression to the husband that you are so hungry for money. Now, Clinton, let me tell you what I said when I talk about in-laws. I have children who are married. I call every daughter-in-law my daughter. I call every son-in-law my son. That is the way you can strike a small balance between now and yesterday. Because if you have trained a daughter and sent her to university, and you want to sell her, how much money can somebody give you for a daughter that you have sent to university? You are sending her to university as your responsibility. That you have prepared her. And we are seeing Pinyin girls who are doing wonderful things. There's a Pinyin lady, I don't want to call her name, who is in Germany, and she has been very productive in the village. She brings ideas. There are Pinyin girls who are building the village. There are singles who are doing great things. There are girls who are helping their parents. So let us not sell our daughters.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Your effort towards peace and commendable. Can you share a personal experience where cultural diplomacy played a key role in resolving conflict between the Pinyin clan?
One thing about life is that you may not reach the whole village, but you can start somewhere, and then it is still the peace that you are building. I told you that forgiveness is peace building. I told you that when you understand people, it is peace building. When I was in Parliament, after serving for 10 years, it was the wish of my brothers and sisters from Parliament that we should have a parliamentarian combined. There is a wish. To win an election is a plan. People vote for you. And it becomes difficult for you to go and tell the people, I'm no longer going to be a member of parliament. It is not done. You are treated as a defeatist. So I spoke kindly to my brothers and sisters who came from parliament. I said, look, I like the way that you like me, but it's a difficult thing for me to do because I don't know what to do. What I'm saying is that we're in a situation where the Regional Assembly Senator, if I now opt to withdraw, politically is not done. I'll be taken as a defeatist. Okay, but then there were other forces that went around and made sure that I should withdraw as member of parliament at all costs. And these other forces were my own people who were misled to believe, I want to say this, to believe that my party, the Social Democratic Front, had come up with a policy by which, after 10 years in parliament, a member of parliament had to wait for another person to vote. According to them, that's the world, taking power to the okay. But it was deceit, it was manipulation. And so they took into consideration that deceit and did everything to get me out of parliament. And I knew what was coming because I'm seeing the best signs. And so when I knew that the dice was voted against me, still went in for election. Because I know that when you go up by election, you should be prepared to go down by election. Going by left without going for that election, you knew that was going to miss it. Politically, it is defeated. But I went in for it. To register my conscience. See, listen to what I'm saying. When you take your conscience to the you register it, then you are teaching lesson. And guess what? In the team of people who were speaking against me were my very close relatives. And I was told that it was after a different person went to parliament that it dawned on the people to now know that I went to parliament in 1997 with people like that. So I would have known. So they asked those who were giving the wrong information about things. Did Tasi not enter at the same time when Mahatma? They still about Tasi. So those of my relatives who were misled to believe that I was true were beginning to get worried. You know what I did think? As a peacemaker, I bought some palm wine, and went to one of them to share it with him because I knew that he didn't know. And he was comfortable. That's the way you are. Don't go for do or die. You are a young journalist. You are a musician. Perfect your skills. And if some way, somehow, somebody steps on your foot and you think that you can forgive that person because you are still in a position to go ahead, don't quarrel with that person stepping on your feet. Shift left or right where you can make it. And there you really make it better. That's it. That's what we call peace. Building peace between yesterday and now. I think we've said the essential things.
As a seasoned figure in Cameroonian politics, how do you envision the role of cultural influencers in shaping national policies for a more inclusive and harmonious society?
We have answered this question, but if you want me to reiterate it, no, there's no problem with that. To reiterate means we are consolidating. Cameroon is a multi-country country. You know, if Pinyin calls himself Allah, he says my own country. The Bama will say mine. By the Nima will say Gunju. So we are a country with so many countries. And the best way to build harmony in this group of countries, about 250 of them, thereabouts, is to make sure that you put everyone that you would understand that you will let some other person in terms of what they do. Then you will learn something. I'll give you a small example. There are many kingdoms in the Northwest region where the chieftainship matter is enjoyable because one, they are very systematic about how you become a chief. In fact, you have to graduate. To graduate, you learn it. And before you graduate, you let certain courses not follow graduation. The administration will be present in consultation. The administration will consult to consolidate what they do. But in some places, the people are so fragile, they are so vulnerable that it's the administration telling them. So in a situation like that, you are creating a problem for yourself and creating a problem for the country because you will be institutionalizing hatred. You'll be accepting the principle of suspicion. You'll be creating a situation of fear. And when people live in fear and in suspicion and in hatred, they don't move forwards. I think we have said essential things.
Wrapping up, Honourable Locals, what message would you like to convey to the audience about the importance of preserving cultural heritage for the betterment of society at large?
The first thing to do is that as a citizen, as an individual is very, very important in every community. If you are a family member, a child, behave yourself, obey your parents. Parents, take charge of your children. I'm not saying that you should put your children into a pocket. Create situations where you communicate with them. Let there be family harmony. Because the family is said to be the smallest community in the country. And if in Pinyin, for example, various families are comfortable, collectively being comfortable. And of course, when a family is comfortable, it is because they respect a hierarchy. It is because they do certain things. And the things that we are neglecting in Cameroon and in Pinyin are the things that are pulling us down. Let us also understand that for peace, from the family to the community to Pinyin and to Cameroon and all over, for peace to be a living experience by all and sundry, the individual should be important. Integrity, dignity, civility, respect for people. Once you do this, you are comfortable. And of course, we do not eat civility, we do not eat obedience, we do not eat justice. These are only enablers for us to work hard. Live on your own street. And let me use this opportunity because I'm talking to using the platform that is exploited by many young people. So very few people, young people are the ones that listen to work hard. There is a difference between your needs and your wants. Wants will refer to a job. You want a job so you can buy your food, you can go to the hospital, you can buy a car, you can build a house, but you have to be steady about it. You don't rush. If you rush, you tumble. I have seen young people drive dubious cars. I call it dubious cars. I choose my words. A dubious person driving a dubious car. A young man of 18 driving a car with so much sound and so much noise in it. A car of 30 million. Who was giving you that money? Apart from this other unfortunate service marketing which we call scanning. It will take you to where? Do you know that if you are a driver, for example, then you are not comfortable, you are not in harmony with yourself and with your parents and with your work. You can be on the highway, physically present but mentally and morally so far away, and you can get into a ditch. We are seeing many young people die unfortunately because of stupid work. It's only taking them to school. And some parents are helpless when they see some of this work. Some of them are so ignorant and so gullible that they just accept everything. They think that they shouldn't work hard. Let me end this by telling you what I saw in Nigeria in days. A young man left the village and went to Lagos, and in 2 years, they had evolved to a point where he built a whole villa for himself. It's possible when you work hard. It's very, very possible. And so the parents doubted his future. And when they heard that he was driving a luxurious car, and then his house was in a place where only the house have that type of house. So they sent somebody to go and see. And the person came, saw a house so beautiful, too beautiful for their life. She came from the village and moved around and saw that house. She was marveled, traumatized and disturbed. They showed her and she couldn't sit well. And then the following morning she said she had to go back. So the young man said, but until you went back, so she said no happened. She was worried. She could not believe it. And so when she went to the village, the young man now was forced to follow to be sure that the antelope might work. He went to the village driving one of his off cars with a lot of provisions in it. No sooner had he reached the village than he was receiving a call when the phone was just come. And so when he took up his phone and was talking alone, so, well, see, that man is talking alone. They didn't know that the phone had just come. So you see what technology can also do to people. So they were running away from the young man who was going to give his relative, running away before they saw him. And he was talking alone like a madman. What am I trying to say? Let us be careful about things that we want. We need some peace of mind. We need understanding. We need humility. Where did it go?
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was the voice of Honourable Tasi Ntang, a pillar of wisdom and a true bridge between the past, present, and the future, with Clinton Destiny Reality Show. May God bless you. Thank you very much. Goodbye.